I need help, boss.
We're the NSAA. We're never serious about anything except grip ball.
3D printed shell.
I have drifted an aircraft carrier.
What?
To an extent, but you'd be out there alone as fuck. There's no.
Just bumping into people by osmosis of dopeness, you know?
3, 2, 1. We're going.
Welcome
live.
in. It's the Happy Hoodlums podcast. It's your host, Kemper Woodruff, and your other host, Zack Sampson.
Obviously.
Really dry intro. Yeah, feeling a little under the weather tonight, but we still had to do a little something, so we don't have a guest, but we ain't giving up. Also, at the top of the hour, I just want to let y'all know I'm starting a program. It's called Fuck People Do Research. I'm just playing. I feel like I've been reading, I just got this book called Stay in the Fight.
Okay.
It's a warrior's guide to the combat pistol by this dude Kyle E. Lamb from Viking Tactical. And just listening to the way that soldiers analyze things and like instructors break things down has become like this fascinating journey to me.
Yeah.
And it's taken like the gun store and kind of turned it into like a gym of sorts, like a mental gym, you know?
Yeah.
This is kind of probably totally unrelated to what a lot of people go through, but it might be applicable, you know, in some way in their own life. Because one of the things that I wrestle with all the time is like using every single thing, every small interaction, every small detail as a way to exercise, say, like gun safety or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, even though I know the guns are like not loaded and I handle almost all the guns, like, or really a large amount of them throughout the day, over and over again, like remembering small things like drop the magazine out before racking it back to check and see if there's anything in there. So there's no like source that could ever feed another round in there.
Yeah.
While doing it, you know, just little things like that. Or just like muzzle awareness. And it's kind of funny because like people give me a reminder by not doing that all the time. Like I'll hand them a gun and they'll be like, thanks. I'm like, did you not do that?
Like, whoa.
Yeah. You know, but I think like in life, that's kind of like a metaphor because we like take for granted that we're like planted in a situation, you know?
Yeah.
We can become so accustomed to it that we stop progressing from it just by being familiar with it, you know? And that, like, I don't know if I've heard this quote somewhere else, but it's familiarity breeds contempt. And I think that that's, like, super deep because we take for granted things that we're around often. And sometimes, like, and this is something I've been looking at in my own life, in the way that I contribute and like interact with people is like after a certain time like of giving and giving and giving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having it not reciprocated in the same way from the same source that you give to, it becomes a form of begging because really it's like what I'm giving to you oftentimes is what I'm really asking for and wanting to be returned back to me, right? And if it isn't, it becomes a form of begging, right? And that's like codependency in a sense. But I think also it's one of those situations where you're so familiar with it, you can take people for granted, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually a sign of maturity to recognize like when you're giving something to someone that they are not in the place to receive what you're giving, and you may be giving them something that they don't need, right? Because of the way that they receive it. So it's like I can give you physicality, right? Because I may register physicality as a form of like intimacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And closeness. But you may receive physicality and closeness in this moment as like a knock, or like feel objectified from it, rather than um, what you really are wanting is to be heard or something. Like that's a situation I've ran into with women before, because for me, I'm like such an affectionate person and I'm always giving like my mind and everything, that to me, like when I'm all broken up, what I want is someone to just go, come here, and just like embrace me, and be like, I love you, you're the shit, and really like get over here. Like I'm a very physical person like that.
Yeah.
So I may try to give to you in the way I want to receive rather than the way you need to receive this.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I was saying, forgive the cup. Brian, I need to get one of the old salt coffee codes. This is there's a bag of tea up in here. This ain't coffee. I haven't turned my back on you because I'm telling you, fuck that. Old salt coffee is the best damn coffee I've ever had in my life, and I'll push that till the end. So I'm sorry, I got this blasphemous mug right now.
That's a big ass mug though. Real talk.
I needed tea, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's hard to think about.
I guess I'm
it's,
saying like in terms of like familiarity, right?
Yeah.
It's the same way as like me handling guns all the time. Like people handle each other all the time.
Yeah.
And we take for granted these small interactions, these little things that are really like training, right? Like you could look at a doorway and be like, oh, that's just a doorway. Like we just need to get in the building and think nothing of it, right?
Yeah.
Or you can think about it like, this is the way that I introduce us and my partner into the room, right? And so like I could be lazy and just open the door or whatever, but there's levels to shit, like I can let her open the door and just be a turd, or I can open the door and, kind of like guide you into the room with my hand on your lower back or something, make you really feel like presented, and proud and respected. Like there's small little things that add up.
Yeah.
We get in and out of cars all the time, but like how often do you see a dude open the door for his lady?
I mean, not often, but I kind of argue that point with how inconvenient it is because you have to run around the whole. It's weird. It doesn't save time. Like you got to run around the entire car, and it's like she's just sitting there awkwardly, and you're running around the car awkwardly.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
I get what you mean though, but like the opening the door thing, I feel like the car thing is a little backwards because it takes too long. It's not time efficient.
Didn't you see that movie, A Bronx Tale?
No.
If she look, you open the car for her. This is the test, bro. The keeper test, right? You open the car door for her, and you let her in, and you close the door. And if she does not lean over and open your side for you, dump the bitch. That's old school. That's what the Don said. You gotta let her go. But if she opens the door for you, son, she's a keeper.
All right, I feel it.
Yeah.
I agree with you on or I'm in the same boat with you as like I'll give someone what I want in return, like the physical touch. Like if I feel down, I want someone to do that same thing, like you said, like get over here, let me give you a hug and shit. That's the same thing. And I don't give hugs out like that, but still.
Well,
yeah,
that's kind of like why for you it might be like all the more meaningful a statement. But if someone isn't in a place to like really think about it, because they're fucked up. You know, they're not thinking in like abundance. They're not like, oh yes, like I have so much. Like that's so great that this person, excuse me, this person may provide this thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I need it, like when you feel like shit, like sometimes they're just like, get off, you know, like that's not what I need. I need to just be here with me. I don't even need you really to talk to me. And it's like a weird thing. Like it's almost like if you're mad, like if you're really, really mad or like some, you know, like where you're just like crying, but like you're not like ugly crying, just like
Yeah.
tears are coming down your face, you know what I mean? Like that kind of mad. And you like pick somebody up and like you're not ready to talk about it. You just need them to sit in the fucking car for a second while you're driving.
Yeah, you just need someone around.
It's just like, no, we're gonna talk about this, but like for a second, I just need you to just be there.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me figure
it's
out how
kind of
I want to start the conversation.
it's like that.
Yeah.
You know, but so often we overlook that role, and I don't know. Like I just kind of look at life and like I feel like I fucked that up sometimes because sometimes when people come to you, like they may be needy in one area and
Mm.
want to receive something in one way, and you may be needy in like another area, and they conflict, you know. And you may be trying to be the bigger person. You may be trying to really give this love and like be there for this person, but the way it just conflicts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It doesn't mesh
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. You know what's inconvenient about having a big nose, bro? We be going to drink some shit. Like sometimes I be going to drink some shit, and I realize I gotta tilt my head back. I don't be seeing other people tilt their head back when they go to drink some shit. You know what I mean? Like my nose be like, no, not about to happen.
I tilt my head back.
It's a toughie.
I don't think I have a big nose, but I tilt my head back to drink.
I don't think my nose is like ridiculous big, but it's like it definitely stick out.
Yeah, I don't think your nose is too like fucking ridiculous.
It's not disproportionate. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it ain't full on honker. You know
It's
what I
not.
mean?
Yeah,
But
it's
like
not a
if I
honk.
turn sideways, like I do got some shit going
You,
on
you
right
got
here.
some size. You got some size.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I know it's not like one of them like cute little like button noses, you know,
Yeah.
like it's a prominent nose, but that's okay. That's my grandfather's nose. You're
You're this is
the Don,
generational nose right here. That's
that's the
funny.
Don right there. Huh?
That's
Hey, I don't
great,
know
dude.
why older women love my nose, bro. It's the Roman nose. That's what they
I
say.
think they know what the nose really does.
Yeah, that's that clip play, son.
Exactly.
And it's like it's ergonomic and shit. You
Yeah,
know, it's
dude.
all rounded off. I don't have the jagged like Owen Wilson shit. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
not like crooked and shit.
Yeah, bro.
There you go.
There's levels to shit, bro. But I'm telling you, like, back to what I was talking about earlier, like looking at the way that people assess different things, like step by step by step by step, um, like little micro movements, you know,
Yeah.
making a huge difference. Is really something that you can get into when you're like when you're looking at shooting and things of that nature, bro. That's just like fascinating. It's almost like in golf, right? Because in golf, you're trying to hit a golf ball so far. So it's like if you really like shift just 2 millimeters, right? You have a completely different stroke.
A different endpoint, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you take it over distance. And like if you apply these principles to life, you know, if you make those little micro adjustments and then you take it out over distance, that's when you're going to like drastic change in your game.
For sure.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think shooting is just one of those things that puts that like right in your face, and you recognize it when you go to shoot because like you can be like I don't know, like 10 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards from a target, and still not hit all dead center every fucking time. You know what I mean? Especially when you add speed to it.
Yeah.
And so like you start looking at it and you're like, oh, all right, there's levels to the shit. Now, if you were shooting at like a man-sized target, like, you know,
You could be pretty accurate for the most part.
yeah, but when you're really like getting down to like the nitty-gritty of things, like there's levels to shit, and it really starts at that small foundational um movement, that you may take for granted in the process, step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting fascinated in like rediscovering learning, because I didn't realize, and this is something that I'm yet to study, but I'm interested in, what trauma does to the brain, especially like concussions and shit, bro. Because I've had a lot of concussions and like vicious head traumas in my
Like
life,
physical trauma
Yeah, yeah,
or trauma
like
in general?
physical. Kind of A and B, because nothing happens in a vacuum, and I've also been through like a lot of like real
Mental
life
shit.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I help so many different people and have chosen to do that. Because I've been in the place to do that, and sometimes I wasn't. I was just like, but I think if you're put in a situation, you're meant to be there.
Yeah.
Like you're not there by accident, so you might as well try to make yourself useful. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And like I'm doing my real estate schooling, and there's different ways that people learn. Like I'm much better learning if I'm able to talk to somebody about it. That's why I prefer in-person learning rather than like just being on the computer like yes, A B C flashcard.
Yeah. It's
You know what
self-taught
I
type
mean?
shit. That's really what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
um but I've been sitting here, and it's like this beginning of this schooling and learning all the terminology and the law and shit like that, bro. I'm like, my brain must have been like rattled around, because I'm telling you, like, I used to learn shit way, way fast. Like I read it and I know it. Like I can regurgitate it verbatim almost.
Yeah.
Um, but like learning this has like been a humbling experience, because it like I had to reset and restructure my life and be like, yo, have I just completely like has my brain been so fucked up and like rewired by what I've been through that like it's hard for me to learn, and it's made me look at other people that go through and have like what they would be diagnosed as like a learning disability or something. Like when I was in high school, I met so many of like a lot of my friends were in the fucking slow class, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of them. And
Yeah.
they're not slow, you know what I mean? Like they're smart and they're funny and shit, but like they just had a hard time learning in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I'm like, is this because like their lives were full of like traumatic shit that they had to like digest at a young age? Because I know I've been through some shit, but
Well, dude, I'm kind of like
there's
in the same boat as you on the ability to learn. Like for me, reading, I have such a hard time, or for you right now, anyways, I have such a hard time reading, um, and staying concentrated. Because like what I'll do is I'll read something and then like a sentence, and then I'll think about it, but I'll still be reading.
yeah,
And so my brain will get caught up on one particular piece of the text, and then I'll be like, I don't know what the fuck I just read. So now I gotta like reread it again, and it happens again and over. But if there's someone like talking it through to me, it's a lot easier for me to understand and conceptualize it rather than just
yeah.
fucking reading the text.
I have a question though. Is that different for you if you're if you're like reading a story? Like,
I think it's worse when I'm reading a story.
really?
Because when I'm reading a story, I'm also visualizing the story happening in my head. And I'm creating the characters in my head and creating those interactions while I'm reading it. And then when something's happening, I'm like, something crazy happens in the story, and I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy. Now I'm fucking, I wonder how that's gonna play out. I'm still reading. I'm halfway down the page and I haven't received any of the words I've been reading because I'm still thinking about what's at the top of the page.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting because for me, I feel like if you put into a story form, like, and you contextualize it using like people,
Yeah.
I can get it. But if it's like just material by itself, like I may do it what you kind of do and highlight in my brain a cool sentence or a cool word. But what I'll generally do is I'll be like, I wonder what that word means, and I'll try and like fill in the blank context wise. And then if I'm like, I'm still curious, because I like to rap and stuff. So I'll look up the definition of the word. So I'll sometimes it can take me for fucking ever to read books. Like that's why I don't read those big ass books because I'm always looking up words. You know what I mean? Like I remember there's a book by Phil Knight, the dude that started Nike,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called Shoe Dog. There are so many fucking words in that book that I had not known. I'm still like, I swear I stopped like 3/4 of the way through that book or something. Like, I was really into it for a second. He went to like Japan and I was like reading all that stuff. But I don't know.
Dude, I'm
I got
reading a
lost.
nutrition book right now that's kind of the same way. Like, I'm able to kind of figure it out. Like, because in the fucking, just in science in general, there's so many words that are so similar. So, like, just an example is like hypocaloric and hypercaloric. And they're it's not hyper space caloric, that's one word. And so when you read them, they're very similar. And so, like, I'll be reading and it'll say hyper, but I read hypo. And I'm like, fuck, that doesn't make any sense. Now I gotta look back. Oh, it's hyper actually. And I'm
Okay,
like,
give me the definition, the difference between those two. Can't say I
so
know that offhand.
hypercaloric is when you have a surplus of calories. So, like, if you're trying to gain weight. Isocaloric is when you're just maintaining your weight, so it's like a normal amount of calories. And then hypocaloric is when you're under eating, so you're in a deficit.
Okay.
Yeah. So each one has their own purpose within like nutrition and shit.
See, one thing I love about like science stuff and especially like with the body is you can get lost on a tangent. Like that's what
Yeah.
happens to me with like yoga. I'll start looking up yoga and like how trauma affects the brain, and then I'll get lost researching like how the fucking hypothalamus is like you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm in all these rabbit holes. I got like 8 different tabs open, and I'm like cross referencing. I feel like I'm in the fucking matrix or something. All because
Yeah.
one sentence that I like was like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, for the most part, the authors of the nutrition book that I'm reading now is just have done a really good job explaining it, all the definitions. There's some stuff that I kind of, because of just how I read, I have forgotten because their definition was probably in that paragraph that I read only half of it, and the rest I thought about something else. But yeah, they've done a really good job at actually like making sure things are explained and stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
it's a tough read. But I'm reading it, like, I'm only reading when I'm working out. So I don't listen to music anymore when I work out. I read but in between my sets on my rest.
Mm.
And so I'll read like a couple paragraphs, put the book down, do my exercise, read a couple more paragraphs, drink some water. And like, even when
That's
I'm at the
funny.
gym, I do that shit.
I'm kind of doing something similar ish. Is like if I'm learning stuff, like I'll go through like one section and I'm like, all right, I got to get through this section. So I'll do like each subsection. So it's like one section might be like 5 to 7 different courses, like mini courses, right?
Yeah.
And then inside of each one, like I'll select one thing and it'll have like related materials to this individual topic. So you read that, and then it has you do like these little match fucking story, true, false, fill in the blank, all that kind of stuff, right? So
Mhm.
you get through that, and then there's like different levels to this dungeon, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna go through one dungeon of learning at a time, and then like I'm like so ready to go to sleep, bro, because it's such dry ass material, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it, bro. Like, I'm gonna take a nap, or I'm gonna like, I have to make tasks. I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna do my laundry. So
Yeah.
like,
You take a
bro, do
break.
my laundry. Yeah, I gotta break it up, bro. Otherwise, I'm like, it just fucks with me. Go downstairs, do a set on the bench or something like,
Dude,
just
for real,
literally.
like that one of the problems that I had in school, which was why I was so bad at school, was any class that required reading, I did terrible at because I
Mm,
didn't like to just sit down and read. I hate sitting down and just reading. I can't do it. Like it just bothers the fuck out of me. So like having figured out that I can read for like 2 hours straight while I'm working out, and it gives me a way to do it, and it also breaks it up, so like I read that paragraph and I can either think about it while I'm working out, or I'm just completely away from the reading entirely, and then I can go back to it and just chip away at it. I've read so fucking much, dude. I've read like 7 chapters in a week and a half or 2 weeks.
you know what's interesting, bro? I find that people that have anxiety know themselves with a level of honesty that a lot of people that aren't as anxious don't recognize. And like they go off in the weeds, trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like people that are anxious are like, nah, I just don't do that. No, I just don't do that. And they like
Yeah.
take this path, right? And then it's like the funny thing is somehow like me, I'll wind up I'm kind of both now, but like I lean more to the side of like, oh, I'm just gonna go. I'm off in the fucking woods, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now I'm starting to recognize like things about myself where it's like, no, I didn't need to try all that shit. You know what I mean? To know to come back to the same thing. Like I didn't have to test that theory to come to the same conclusion that I knew out the gate.
Yeah.
And I feel like opposite, you know, people that have anxiety get comfortable in this one area and then they kind of little by little go "Woo," into the woods and then they're like, oh no, that's not me, and then they just come back and they're like, yep, I knew it, you
Yeah.
know. And then like over time you begin just working with yourself and like actually building a structure for your life, or you don't. But I mean, like, I find that most people build structures for themselves even if they're like um unhealthy or they don't progress, you
Yeah.
know.
Something that was like that. So like I feel like I am the type of person with the anxiety in your explanation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the examples that I have for that is in high school when I tried smoking weed for the first time. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
only time. It was with my brother and my sister. And I didn't like how it felt. I was like, this I just don't like the feeling of it. And it wasn't
Mm.
the high part. It was like how it felt how the smoke felt on my throat and shit. It just felt like it burned and shit. I didn't like it. And then
Mhm.
years later, you introduced me to edibles. I had done nothing, no substances until then, and then now I'm high right now on an edible. So it's like, yeah, like we know like people with anxiety in your example know themselves and they're willing to like slowly branch out, and I think that helps. It helps with the anxiety because it gives them a little bit of more control on what is going on in their life, rather than
Mm.
just like saying fuck it, jumping in the deep end instantly and not knowing if they're going to float or sink. They like gradually make their way from like the 3 foot to the 5. Okay, they can stand. They go to the 6, they can wade a little bit, and they just keep going on and on and on, and then they
Mhm.
figure it out.
Yeah, I think as I get older, I realize like there's a buffer in my brain now that I didn't have when I was younger of like
Let me think about this.
when I can go, balls deep in some shit right out the gate
Yeah.
and when I need to just kind of like ease into that, you know? Um but I got to say like in a strange way, some of and I've been blessed to have made it through a lot of the experiences that I've had, you know, but there's some shit that when you do go all the way in on it
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, "Oh, that's not for me." You recognize like right away like I am never doing that shit
Again.
again. Like,
Yeah, dude, I know. I'm with you there.
like you look
Yeah.
at it and you're just like, "Oh, word, like that's how that goes down." Yeah, no, we're not moving like that. I gotta go over here with this shit.
Yeah. Divert course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like, man, life is just funny, bro. Like you can start going through these seasons and these experiences in your life. Like, bro, I'm someone that I feel that I've experienced a lot of betrayal, and I've
Mm-hmm.
also betrayed myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and that comes back to, like, did you make someone earn something or did you give something? And you got to take responsibility regardless, of how shit transpired because you're the common denominator of it. But just looking at my own life, um, I recognize now like it's all right to 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 hold space for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just let motherfuckers figure it out later. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to
Yeah.
like over communicate and be like, no, you know what I'm doing? Do you really know what I'm nah. Like you'll get it or you won't,
Yeah.
And it's gonna be your thing and you're gonna run with it, whether you have to baby step into it or you're all the way,
Yeah.
Um, but that's kind of one of the epiphanies that I've had lately that's got me assessing things differently rather than looking like and being jaded for no reason versus understanding how I actually feel about it, and what actually happened in black and white terms, and then be like, I may try to understand where this person's coming from, but I'm not getting it fucked up with my perspective. Like I'm not bending on my truth just to accommodate where someone else was at the time.
Yeah. You're staying
So
true to
even
you.
yeah, and I think like um it to be honest, I've honestly betrayed myself many times. I just said to be honestly, but like so that was a little
Oh
redundant.
shit,
But
bro.
it's interesting, like life is an interesting journey in the way that we learn things. It's like you can resent someone who's your greatest teacher at times, and you might not like the way that you have to learn this lesson, but once you learn it, if you can hold to this truth, right, until you discover a higher truth that breaks that,
Yeah.
um and that comes through your heart, really. Like you run into a situation where it's like, man, I have this like moral thing that I stand on and I'm like firm about it, but something in your spirit is just like, nah, you need to reach out. You need to go a little bit farther than that. And I think that's what love is. Like love takes your boundary from here where you're like, nope, I will go this far and no further, and makes you set a new boundary. Reach
Yeah.
out just a little bit more. It's like a never ending definition, and like when you give, it reaffirms that you're infinite, and that you only have more to give, but the place from which you give is different,
Yeah.
and, and you just start looking at the purity of your intent, and I think that really is what I'm learning is like I may have done some shit that was wrong, but my intention, like I'm not wrong for doing it, you know what I mean? Like my intentions were pure, and like sometimes it's like when you're just not received in a certain way, um you're about to watch love turn on its head, you know
Yeah.
because you can't turn passion off. So it's like I've been very wrong. Like that's why I try not to let myself get mad, because I know like who I am once I do, like, I'm like burning the whole village. Fuck it, we can all go. You know, like,
Yeah.
and that's not the way to handle the shit. You know what I mean? And I thank God that I've been handled by other people with such grace in that moment, you know, in those moments, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I've also been knocked the fuck out before, but you know, like I swear to God, though, I swear I get knocked out like in a karmic way, like down the line. It's not in that moment; it's in a whole other moment. That shit do come back to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, as just a reality check of where you're at. You know, like anybody can get it, but um, I think like in terms of just saying, like I realize we all have great capacity for both good and evil. You know,
Mhm.
and it's like it doesn't make you if you hang out in one area in one neighborhood of emotion longer than another, it still will make you more of a saint than a sinner. You know, like you still got that in you.
Yeah.
It's just you don't you do better at letting that come out of you, and choose wisely on when to allow that to happen because there is a time like there is such thing as like righteous anger, you know, where it's like no, you do need to press the gas pedal, like, and it is disingenuous if I don't spank you for the way that you're acting right now. Otherwise, you don't know how the fuck to treat me. You know, otherwise that's a slave mentality in your mind. You know, just whatever is given, and just okay, okay. No, like there's a level to like peace and resilience. You know, and outward action. You know, and being bold and standing up and going and getting what you want. You know,
Yeah.
and taking that shit. You know, like I think that's one of the things that I'm trying to navigate in my life right now. Like how to take it, you know, like understanding what's mine and how to take it, you know, like energetically in which way to go. So it's not like um, a robbery, so to speak, on an energetic level, you know? So
Mhm.
it's more of like an accomplishment and an achievement. And so rather than it's like what I'm getting is in a beneficial way, you know, rather than detrimental way to someone else, you know, because I really care about Um, and this is crazy. Like in the Bible, they say good success, right? And that concept fucked me up. Like, oh, there's good success and bad success. Because to me, like I'd already known that, but I've always said like not all money is good money, you know. And I learned that from selling drugs. Is like,
Yeah.
uh, like quick money goes the same way that it comes, like, and it's like you can be stuffing money in your pockets on the top, but like God will cut a hole in the bottom of your shit, you know, until you start getting right on like a principle level, you know. And I realized that like Bob Marley said, like money don't make you rich.
Yeah.
Like some people are so poor all they got is money.
Yeah. Bob Marley he basically talked about how he was rich in other ways.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like for real. You know, I was thinking about this today. You know what bothers the fuck out of me? What I
Mm.
think is just so shallow when people are describing someone that they're like into and they're like, "Oh yeah, they got money."
They got
You
it. They
know?
got this job. They drive this car.
Yeah, yeah,
Got his own house.
like that shit is cool, but
Yeah.
like when that's at the top of your list, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
kind
Like,
of do look at it like,
what's special about this person? Why do you like this person? Oh, their
well, I'm
fucking
like,
smile is amazing, and they can make me laugh without even trying. Like that type of
well,
shit.
also, it's like if you've been around anybody that's like really hood, like it's like you realize like a lot of people that I love, they used to a lot of my friends used to like rob people and shit. You know what I mean? There's like a
Yeah.
phase, and like within my neighborhood, there's a lot of people getting robbed and shit. You know, and so it's like you understood that like anyone could get shook down. You know, and oftentimes it's like from that mentality of like, well, this person's no different than me, and it's like a hater mentality that promotes that kind of activity. but it teaches you something on a real level. It's like, no, like underneath all that shit, it's like that's exactly what it is. It's just things, you know?
Yeah.
What is this person to you? Because you got to be dealing with some people who really ain't shit if they don't have those other intangible characteristics. Like I know so many people that yeah, they might be considered broke or might drive like a hoopty compared to someone else, you know, but in terms of the way that person loves, and you see it a lot of times, like a lot of my homeboys, like they might have like multiple kids and they're not, you know, like they might struggle to provide at times for them, but every time that they come home and I watch them like cherish their family, you know, and the way that they can just be present in a moment,
Yeah.
it's so much more abundant life, you know, it's so much more genuine than a lot of encounters that I've witnessed, you know, like you ever go out, you'll see couples on a date and you can tell when it's like this person like was just looking at what this person had from the outside and trying to judge it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, well, he has a good car, or she's just so fine. You know what I mean? Like, oh, her purse is great. And you can watch people do it, and it just feels like disingenuous. You know?
Yeah. They don't seem all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They're
You
like
know?
1 foot in, 1 foot out type shit, and they're like ready to bounce.
Yeah, and like, it's not that people can't have money and nice things and be all in.
Yeah.
It's just like
If that's
I
your main
noticed.
focus.
Yeah, I notice it a lot. Like I'm paying more attention to the way people treat one another before I interact with them. 'Cause
Yeah.
for a long time, I'd just interact with people carte blanche and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna give them this, and it's like I may still give them this, but I'm gonna give them the same thing and that same loving treatment, but for a different reason. You know what I mean? And it's like it goes back to this quote that DMX said. He said, "Trust everybody to be themselves, but also trust in the fact that you can see them well."
Yeah.
And so it's like, pay attention to how people move because, you know, it's in a snake's nature to bite you if you get close and if you startle it because it's a snake, you know?
Mhm.
And so it's not that that's an evil ass creature and needs to, like, all snakes must go. Like, it's just learn to keep your distance from it, you know?
Yeah.
Like learn how to play with it. There's people that are snake charmers and shit, you know? And you got to get your snake charmer on sometimes, you know? And other times you just got to be like, nah, mm, we're not playing that, you know? Like I'm staying the fuck away from you.
Yeah.
And it's helped me in my life to kind of navigate things differently. Um, and not necessarily be jaded, but be bold for the right reasons, and not just um, for the sake of uh, ex- selfish expression.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's
like
kind of
there's
like protecting your emotions. It's protecting you. It's not necessarily you being jaded. It's just you keeping yourself safe emotionally.
but this is kind of what I go into. That's like why I think I'm kind of a crazy person in a sense. Like I don't believe in boundaries. Like I don't think that there should be a need for them. Like
Well, what do
and
you
when you
mean by
act
boundaries? Boundaries in what? Like in things
um
that you can talk about or emotionally or what?
kind of like across the board, like because we're all infinite, you know, as long as you're not physically like breaking somebody's back, you know, like as long as
Yeah.
you're not like physically debilitating, you know, like everybody can get over anything. And it's like there's a song by Jimi Hendrix that called "Bold as Love." You know, it's a
Yeah.
dope ass song too. If you don't know it, you need to go listen to it. But yeah, you take some mushrooms or some acid or something. You do some listen to Jimi Hendrix, bro. That shit blow the doors off your
That's what we
brain.
should have listened to when we did mushrooms. Jimi Hendrix. We didn't listen to any Jimi Hendrix.
No, I played Little Wing for you, dog.
Was that Jimi Hendrix? I don't remember that song.
Oh yeah, bro.
Okay.
Little Wing is like one of the greatest guitar fucking like riffs of all time.
Damn, now I want to
But
take mushrooms and listen to it again, so I can remember it.
we will, bro. I'm telling you, we'll have to go out in the woods or some shit.
Yeah, take some
Because
headphones.
honestly, yeah. Side note, sitting under the stars and shit, like energy is different in nature, um,
Yeah,
because it kind of balances us, right? Like if you think about it, plants are like the inverse of humans because they inhale carbon dioxide and exhale or expel like oxygen.
yeah,
We do the opposite of that. We take in all the oxygen and we give that carbon dioxide. So when we're together and with nature, it's like we're just like money. We just harmonize, you know.
yeah,
And it happens out in nature, bro. You can't make that up. Um, but no, like when I'm talking about bold as love, right? Um, it takes a level of strength to be selfless and like unapologetically who you are and appreciative of life, you know? And I
mm,
think that supersedes any pain that you incur in the process of expressing that. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I don't believe in one sense like that there's a need for boundaries, but I also realize that it does lead to this path where you feel at times betrayed by other people who aren't in a place to reciprocate the same way that you give.
yeah.
But yeah, like that's kind of just some thoughts and concepts I've been flirting with. I don't know if you have much more you want to touch on.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I think that because there's like stages to knowing me. Uh,
Mm,
and so like at first, you get like a pretty reserved version of me, right? I'll talk to you, uh, and most of the time it's just like it might be a question if I feel like breaking awkward silence if we're just sitting there doing nothing, um, or it's just like random things that need to be said. And then there's the acquaintance version where it's like, okay, we're actually talking now. It's like, oh, that's funny. We can actually laugh a little bit together. And then there's the friend part where it's like, now I'm starting to tell you about me. Like now you get to know who I am. And then beyond that, that's basically where you become a part of my fucking life. So like you, Josh, like you guys know, like you guys are my brothers basically. And it's
yeah.
like those are the stages of knowing me. And so for me, I do that so that I can wean out the people that I want in my life very easily. And I think that was my formula of being able to avoid having shitty friends.
Mm,
Like I have never there only one time in my life have I ran into a situation where a friend did me wrong. And it's because of the process that I have. And I feel like because of the process I have, I'm able to pick literally the best people to be in my life.
do you think, or like, do you feel that you've like missed out on interactions? Because like sometimes shitty people may have glorious moments. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm judging people and saying that they're shitty people right away. It's like maybe it's just like something doesn't click, and I don't want to give them all of who I am right away. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like something's there that kind of throws me off about them. So it's like, in a sense, I wish I was more outgoing than I am because I feel like that would have helped with a lot of different interactions throughout life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, I really like who I am. So it's like a toss up do I want to be more outgoing, or do I want to continue to be the type of person that I am?
That's so interesting, bro. Like, because I feel like I'm the complete fucking opposite of that. Like, I feel like I'm throwing like everything that I can at you, and like in the beginning, really like what I'm trying to do. Like, no matter what situation you give me, I'm gonna try and add something to it. You know, like if you give me a sentence, I'm gonna give you a paragraph.
Yeah. See,
If
I'm not like that. I'm a sentence for sentence type of guy. Like, maybe
yeah,
even less than that. Like, I don't know, but
yeah.
I'm always there to
Um,
also help people. So it's not like I'm just like, if you
oh,
ask
that's
for
for
my
sure.
help or my opinion, I'm going to try to motivate you to be the best person you
For sure.
are, even if we're not
Yeah.
like the best of friends. I'll be like, no, you got that shit. Like a girl at the gym was
Hmm.
telling me about becoming a trainer, right? I was like, fucking do it. Like I've only known this girl, I've only talked to her twice. She's a
Hmm.
coworker, and I was like, do it. You should. The test isn't crazy hard. You don't necessarily even have to study for it if you don't want to, and you can get it for really fucking cheap. So
Hmm.
run that shit and become a trainer. And it's like I'll. It's not like I'm just like
No, you're definitely an
monotone.
encouraging dude. I'm not saying that at
No,
all
no, no.
or
I know,
trying to.
I know. But
Yeah.
that was adding on to it. It's like um I'm not just a robot who's emotionless and monotone. If you don't know me, if you really express some need for input, I'm there and I'll give it to you.
I feel like you got me until you don't, but like people think that they got 100% of me because I give so much trying to like help people, and not just help people, but like enjoy the fucking shit out of people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like in every encounter, like I'm really just trying to take this to the maximum levels of fun, you know?
For me,
Um,
it it's
and
like, go ahead. Never mind. Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, like, the people that really know me though, like, and it's few and far between, like, it's almost like you ever hear the saying like the tears of a clown? Like people don't recognize the tears of a clown because they're always trying to make somebody laugh,
Yeah, and
you
they're
know?
also painted on their face.
Well, yeah, I guess.
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
Yeah, like the
like
saddest
people that
people
really
are the ones that are like smile the most.
yeah, like
Yeah,
people really don't understand the depth of it because they're so satisfied with the surface level because they're getting all the like icing on the cake, right?
yeah,
But they don't understand that there's all this like savory, juicy goodness underneath it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's almost like I don't know. It's just a strange thing. Like people that have really like that really know me know like the buck wild absolutely like when I'm wrong, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm like the wrongest wrong person. Like I'm like horribly wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm
yeah,
not proud of it. It's just like I recognize and a spade's a spade. Like, and I look at it and I'm like, oh shit, which is why I try to gravitate to this and just be this. I realize now, like, I'd rather be like an unapologetically like comprehensive person and really try and master this. And if I gotta take it here, then I'm okay with going there with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with it now rather than feeling uh like I'm less than for having that side of me.
yeah,
Like that's what I mean when I say like don't get it fucked up with your own perspective. Like or else you're not living your genuine truth to the fullest. You're not able to be fully present,
yeah,
because there's moments where you do need to allow yourself to be wrong, and I look at people that embody this. Like one of the best people to me, um, man, Lil Boosie and Tupac. You know what I mean? And Nipsey Hussle, right? Nipsey
okay,
Hussle talks about all kind like just watching hours and hours of interviews about them. Like I feel like there's a genuineness that not only do you get in their words and how they appraise themselves in their stories, in their track record over time and how they move business wise and all that kind of stuff, as like community, as real leaders, real men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, that it's like you don't sometimes I'm looking for that and I think a lot of people are looking for that. Like, I know I was in like church, and I feel like I haven't gotten that in some regards, in a lot of regards with people, because you're getting that surface level kind of interaction. Where for me, that's why I'm like, I consider myself, a man of God. And so I'm like, I am the church in the world, you know, like I'm going to talk to people in a way that they might never ever get this. And I want to give out like a godly, like a universal principle for like how God set up this shit to run, in the universe on an energetic level, and express it through who I am and what I give and these interactions. And sometimes in order to express like that great love that you have, sometimes people got to be able to see the rage that comes with it. You know what I mean? When you don't get that shit, like when it's stifled, when people take your fucking heart and just smash that shit like you're not human. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then they get that fucking monster out of you. And then everyone wants to go, "Oh no, you're fucking crazy." Nah, bitch, you fucking did that shit.
Yeah.
You know what
Like, you
I mean?
made this shit come out of me. Fuck you.
Yeah, like don't just keep poking the bear and get mad once the bear don't want to dance and all of a sudden eat your ass. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Don't treat me
There's
like
only so
shit.
many marshmallows,
Yeah.
You run out of marshmallows at a certain point and you just keep poking and prodding and fucking with this bear, like eventually, it's like the tigers in the fucking zoo. Eventually he's gonna fuck your shit up,
Yeah.
Like this ain't like the circus act can only go on so long before the nature like of that being is gonna come out, because not because it's bad, but because it's a comprehensive spirit too,
Yeah.
you know? And like I feel like we gotta look at people less condemning in those moments, even though we have to acknowledge and address what's happened, But we don't have to address it with the same level of finality that like cancel culture and all this like woke shit about like, oh, like self love is so good, like toxicity, like, yo, fuck that. Like, if you know anyone, like, quit being a bitch, bro, because somebody might need your ass. You know what I mean? Somebody might need you. And you won't know until until the time comes, and you don't know who you fucked over that was really trying to keep it real. And they weren't even able to keep it real with themselves and they might have needed some guidance. But you're all, oh, toxicity, what the fuck up. Like, that's how I feel about that shit.
Dude, I've been feeling so good lately, just like with all the fitness stuff that I've been doing and everything. Damn, you disappeared.
Yeah.
I looked away
Sorry.
for 1 second.
Yeah, my bad.
But like, I've finally gotten my eating down finally, with like getting the right amount of protein per day and shit. And my trainer's dope as fuck. He literally bought me glutamine, which is like $30. He was like, dude, I don't want you spending more money than you need to. And I'm like, dude, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. So
Hell yeah.
he's dope as fuck. He even offered to buy me creatine, which I didn't need. Creatine's pretty cheap. But I've been feeling
Proud of
so
you,
good
dog.
on my shit. And dude, so like when I first started with my trainer, my 1 rep max on bench was 185. Right? 2 weeks ago I hit 210.
Hey.
And this week I did 4 reps with 185 on bench.
Hey.
So it's like,
that's big boy shit, son.
yeah, he's been fucking.
And
His
you're
shit's
probably
been
only like
helping me.
$170, $165.
Nah, I'm probably closer to like $180.
Damn, that's bro. You got them thunder thighs on you right now. I bet, huh?
Bro, you
What's your
should see me.
squat?
My squat, I haven't maxed out my squat since before I worked with my trainer. But before I started working with my trainer, I maxed out at 245. But while I was working with my trainer, I worked up to being able to do like 6 to 8 reps with 235 pounds. So I was about to, if I had tested my 1 rep max around that time when I was repping 235, I probably would have been around 270, maybe close to 300.
Hell yeah. See, bro, that's big boy shit. Dude, I'm telling you, once I get through my schooling, it's on and popping.
My
In a
deadlift's
little bit,
315.
that's bananas, bro. That's big boy shit. I love it.
Yeah. So, feeling
See,
good.
bro, I always been jealous because I'm like super lightweight compared to most people. However, my body like transforms fast and like it looks.
Dude.
I look yoked at like 135, 140. You know,
So you weigh 140 or what do you weigh right now?
I don't even know, bro. Bro, I haven't been eating like nothing. I'm probably like a $125, bro. I'm
Okay.
bones right now.
So we'll
Look
say
at me, bro.
125.
I'm bones right now. When
Yeah,
has my
you
arm
are
ever
kind
been
of
like that,
bones.
bro? I know, dude. I'm telling you, all I've been look. People don't want to know like what really goes into this like fucking podcast and making shit happen, bro. Like paying for schooling, paying for the podcast, like making sure that everything's up so we can constantly try and make new shit so I can put money to the side while paying bills and everything, bro. Like I've been eating like maybe like 1 or 2 meals a day. Like people don't know what it's like when you're really hungry, bro. Like literally physically hungry for this shit, you know? But I'm
Yeah.
still here trying to like give this shit to the world. And I know that in time, like God's gonna bless us. Big time, bro. And like all the shit that I've gone through and like just kept making sure that I focus and refocus on this, you know, and reinvest. Like, bro, I've been reinvesting for a long time, but like after I left Green Gratitude, like the bottom straight fell out on my life, bro. And like everybody felt every which way. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Yeah.
like I had so many more people that like I really counted on, that like I really checked on, that like I fuck with, you know, that just went every which way on me. And it's not that I don't have that love for them, but it's like I guess I needed to feel this. Like I feel like God knows where to break you. You know what I mean? Um, in order for you to like get that hunger, like and really like go for some shit, you know, with everything.
Yeah.
And like it's so crazy. It's like, bro, I'll dead ass starve for this shit, you know, and that's why like a part of me, I haven't been working out also in part that like it makes me eat more and I don't have the money to eat, you know? Like we really need to like get our supporters on. So shout out to everybody that's straight.
If you made it this far, fucking thank you.
Yeah,
But
you know, donate some change to your boy, you know, because like I'm gonna keep dropping jewels on y'all, but
dude,
you
to
know,
circle it
I
back
really,
around though, just because you're skinny doesn't mean that you can't be strong. Like,
oh yeah, I'm
dude,
still
I
strong.
was looking at these fucking numbers for powerlifting meets because one of the trainers, his name is Brian at my gym, he competes in powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking at numbers for different weight classes. And at like, I think this was like 165. I know that outweighs you, but 165, people were squatting 500 pounds.
You
People
know
were
the
benching 400. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, just because you're
well, like
skinny and small doesn't mean like you can't
no, like
be physically strong and shit like
pound for
that.
pound, I'm strong. Like for instance, my best friend Paul, like dead ass, he benched like 350 pounds
Yeah,
when he was locked up, and he was only like what, like I swear he's like a buck 70, buck 75
yeah,
at his max, you know. Like just retarded levels of strength. Um, it was either 315 or 350. I think it was hit 350. I don't know. It was
it was a
big
lot of
boy.
weight. It was a lot of weight.
It was in the 300s, bro.
Yeah.
I remember him coming home and telling me that shit and showing me his lats and shit. Yeah, but no, like I've always been strong, but in a strange way, like when it comes to weights, um, if you told me how much something was, I would have a harder time lifting it sometimes than if I just got under it and lifted it. And like, for instance, like I've moved all kinds of heavy shit, like safes and shit like that,
Yeah.
you know? where it's like I know we're picking up like 400 pounds or some kind of shit, you know,
Heavy
but
shit. Yeah.
yeah, heavy shit. But somehow we're able to do it, you know, and like I just get on the other side of it and I've done it, you know, where I know if you told me that same amount and was like, yep, that's what's on the rack right now, like I wouldn't be able to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
I think a lot of it also comes down to technique too, because like especially in the gym, it's different
Mm-hmm.
picking up odd objects like a safe. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I mean, it also if you have someone there with you to lift it, it's different. But yeah,
Yeah. But also there's like real world strength. Like there's like
there's
I swear
functional
to God,
strength, and then there's like gym strength.
yeah, there's spiritual strength and as well. Like there's videos and you could probably like if you've seen some people fight, bro, like especially if you watch like boxing and you've been around like gyms and stuff where you actually see people in the gym, there's some people that just hit hard,
Yeah,
son, like hard, like above their weight class. You know what I mean? And that's just they just got that fucking banger, you know? And it's really I think it's your spirit, you know? Where it's like mentally you don't have a block, you know? You're just strong as fuck.
yeah.
Talking about mushrooms, bro. One time I was with Paul and we were on mushrooms and there was like this crazy like thunderstorm and shit, like while we were on mushrooms and like we're coming back down through this park. And there was a fat ass like a tree had fallen, basically like a little tree, you know,
Yeah.
and it was so big, bro. I swear to God, this shit looked like a telephone pole, and I watched him just pick it up like it was nothing, just like over his head, and he was like, bro, check it out, you. And he was like, pick it up, and he was like, you can't do that shit, and I was like, nah, bro, I can't. But he was just like he was like, bro, it's like it's nothing right now. And so
That's
like yeah,
funny.
there's times when like that strength just like is bananas. I'll never forget that though, because he was small, you know, so like his little ass sitting under this big ass fucking tree, just carrying a fucking tree. I was like, this is the craziest shit. Like people don't believe this, but I know it's like if you knew him, like you would believe it. And I had multiple people there, so it's like that's facts.
Witnesses.
Yeah, but I think that about wraps it up. You know, you never know how strong you are.
Yeah, dude. For real.
You good on this one for
Strength.
the evening?
Yeah, man. We can call it.
All right, everybody. Next week
Thanks for
we'll be
coming.
back. We'll have a guest. We'll have Liz. She's an incredible animator, like illustrator, wonderful artist, and
Yep.
delightful young lady. So, yep. Stay posted.
Later.